Hello friends, welcome to the video. I'm starting a short series on SQL Server indexes and index maintenance. In this video, we will cover basics of a cluster index and some few details about how indexes impact statistics. To start off with, we'll create a dummy table. So let me create a dummy table. After that, if I actually query system.indexes and pass the table that I just created, we get some details around it. Currently, this table is actually a heap, so there's no index on it. So if a table exists where there's no index on it, it's called as a heap. Um, Moving on, if we actually insert some data in that particular table, we can see that uh, now there are some uh, pages in it. There is only one record. That's the record we added. That record has come via this particular insert, and because actually the table definition is such that it is occupying almost 8060 rows. This particular row itself is actually occupying the entire page. So record count is 1. That is the data that we inserted. Uh, but also it is actually fitting on the entire page. So moving on, if we enter few more records and do a query on the indexes, we would get actually, now that we have one record was already there, we entered two more records, so total records are 3, and the pages located to this particular table, which is still a heap, 3. So per page there is one record. Moving on, if I actually use the go command to actually insert 100 rows, so basically we will be adding another 100 pages because our one row is fitting into one page. That if we do X star on this, we would end up, we already were having 3 pages, we have almost 103 pages. Record count also matches. Now before we move on, I just want to switch on to um, the particular definition of the cluster index. um, Basically this is how the cluster index is structured as a B tree in the SQL Server database engine. So basically the cluster index defines or dictates how the data in the table is sorted. So, so it could be employee ID, employee name, employee department, and employee salary. So let's say if you want to sort the data with employee ID, then the entire data would be sorted, and the actual data is stored in the leaf node of the cluster index. Whereas on the intermediate nodes and the root nodes, there could be actually pointers to the pages which have further pointers to the leaf level pages, but the leaf level is where all the entire column of data would be residing. So if I just wanted to like take an example, let's say there is a employee ID 1 to 10 would be stored in this particular leaf node, and all these leaf nodes are actually interlinked or doubly linked list. They are type of doubly linked list. So assume like we have employee 1 to 100, and employee 1 to 30 is actually sitting on these 3 pages, but the intermediate node is actually having a pointer to this leaf node. Similarly, the other like 31 to 60 employee are actually having a pointer on this intermediate node, and the actual data is residing over here. So let me move back to my uh, management studio and continue with the other queries that we have. So now that we are on this query, we would be creating the cluster index. Once we have created the cluster index, I will just refresh my tables, and this is the table we have, and we do see a cluster index over here. So the impact of this on the definition in this particular DMDB index physical stats, we are passing this particular table entire DB, and we are getting the detailed information out of it. So this is now reporting that the SQL Server table has a cluster index which has a it has an index ID 1 because cluster index or the first index would get that ID, and it has depth level of 2. That is, this is depth level 0 and this is 1. 0 is the leaf level and this is the any level that is above that. So we have two levels. So and the intermediate level that we spoke about actually only has one page, but it has actually 103 pointers in it, which are actually pointing to the total number of pages that are there in the leaf node or the leaf level. So and the record is still 103 because our one record is fitting in one page. So this is how it is actually having a slight change from since we did not had the cluster index. Now let me enter or insert multiple records in one go, again using the go command with the number of iterations I want to do for this particular insert statement. It's completed. Now again I will run this select statement. So we did 700 iterations, so we were already on 103. So now we should be 803 because we entered inserted 700 more rows. So similarly, now if you see the cluster index actually is having a depth of 3 now. That is, the root level has moved one level up, and then we have an intermediate level, and this is the leaf level. Now on the root level, which is index level 2 now, it has one page and it has two entries. Those entries are actually the pages in the intermediate level, which are two pages, and they have entries of 803 pages, which are these pages, and these pages actually have these many records because one record is occupying the entire page. So I hope it is making sense to you. So this was some basic I wanted to cover about cluster index. I'm keeping this video short. I'll switch on to my um, PPT, and over there we'll just see some advantages of the cluster index, and in coming coming videos. So this is the criteria that we were using, that one particular SQL Server page can have maximum of 8060 bytes of data, and our table definition was actually reaching around 8,000 bytes. So that's the reason we were only able to insert only that much of data in one page. And this is the basic flow of the cluster index, and this is what we covered about the a simple example around how the data is spread across the root page. Mostly the root page will have references to the intermediate node, and the intermediate node will have references to the leaf node, which will actually have the cluster index plus the remaining columns spread across multiple pages. So this is how the cluster index works. I hope this is of use, and I will create a playlist for in my channel which is related to cluster index and maintenance of a cluster index. So see you in the next video. Thank you.